many things that are always concurrent at the same time which our body responds to. The sound of us typing the computer keyboard, the temperature of the hot steam rice cooker, the sound of music, and even our breathing, and the light that give us vision. How could our body able to respond to all of these things and know which is which? Why do we know that we need to take our hand away from the hot steam rice cooker? How do we know that the rice cooker is hot?
The reason that our body is aware of what is happening around us is our sensation. It's the activation of the sense organs by the outward information known as stimuli. Then the sensory receptors will convert this raw information into chemical substances. Imagine you walking down the street while it's really hot. Almost all of your senses would activate it. For an example, you see the sun and you feel the hot steam while trying to stay cool. You took out your cap and put it on your head to keep you cooler. The hot sun is the stimuli. Our receptor cells will activate it and turn them into chemical substances that our brain can understand and generate them into a consequence action known as perception. It's how the stimuli is processed in the brain. Each sense organs consists of their own special and different kind of receptors, which translate the stimuli into different types of neural signals that can be sent to the brain for further processing. This process known as transduction. We respond to various stimuli around us through our five sense organs. Our eyes give us the sight by converting the stimuli into photoreceptors. Our ears hear the sound, which then converts it into mechanoreceptors, and our tongue and nose convert the stimuli into chemoreceptors. Our ability to sense things are very sensitive, but how sensitive are we? This can be answered by Ernst Weber's law, known as different threshold. It means how strong does the stimuli has to be before we notice a change. For an example, I love making green bean dessert, and not everyone has the same ingredient. My secret ingredient in making green bean dessert is to add a pinch of salt, just enough to make sharp, sweet taste. If I used 10 tablespoons of sugar, I need to add about 1/3 teaspoon of salt. If you found your ratio, write it down in your notebook, or else you might turn your green bean dessert into green bean soup. Unless you like green bean soup, you can ignore the writing part. Now imagine you are studying in your room with the door closed. One room away is your other sibling who is practicing her piano lesson. You can't focus if there is just a little sound. How loud can she play before you notice that it bothers you from studying? She might start with volume 5, but it wasn't loud enough for her, so she raises the volume up to 8. It's still okay because you can't hear anything, but then after 15 minutes later, you couldn't focus anymore because you heard the sound. So you go to her room and found that she was on a volume 15. This noticeable stimuli is known as absolute threshold, which was studied by Gustav Fechner.
Hey, I'm trying to sleep, so can you stop playing?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
I'll just be softer.
So here it is. Jessie is trying to sleep, but Danielle has to practice her piano lesson in the same room. So Jessie's told Danielle to stop playing so she could sleep. They know that is impossible because Danielle has a piano exam tomorrow. so Danielle decided to play softer. Jessie, on the other hand, learned to compromise by sleep through the noise. This is known as habituation and sensory adaptation. It's when your brain stops processing unchanged information, while your sensory receptors also become less responsive to unchanged stimuli. Soma means body and aesthetic means feeling. Thus, the term somaesthetic means that the body feels. There are three different kinds of senses that are associated with somaesthetic. The skin senses. When you try to light up the birthday candles and found one of your fingers on top of one of the lighted candles, you suddenly feel pain because your skin is burning with the hot temperature of the fire. The pressure, pain, temperature, and touch are associated with the skin senses. Jessie is prone to motion sickness than Danielle, but Jessie is too addicted to her phone that she can't stop playing her phone at all, even when she's in the moving car. Expectedly, Jessie got home and she got motion sickness. This causes by two special organs in the ear, known as the otolith organs and the semicircular canals. Both contain fluid that control our balances. One has crystal and the other has 3 tubes. When those solid substances are moved, your body will respond as you moving as well. How to stop this motion sickness? Try looking at a non-moving object in the distance. You find that your sight sense helps fight against your vestibular senses. Very helpful. Have you ever experienced rubbing your knee real hard after you bump it into a corner of the table? Well, I have. It was not a pleasant feeling, but the rubbing part helps a lot. This is because the increasing of the rubbing sensation inhibits the pain fiber activity, which does ease my pain, though I still got a bruise. This is one of the important abilities that our body develops as early as infancy. Without it, you might have a hard time going to school because you can't tell how far your school building is or how close you are to the entrance door. The ability to see things in 3 dimensions and its distance is known as depth perception. You can see that this line is round and closer to us than the cross next to the lamp. We are known to have binocular cues because we have 2 eyes that we are using. But if we are using one eye, then it's called monocular cues. The monocular cues allow the artist to express things in a certain way that they want the viewers to perceive. Here, you see a big line on a table. When you move to the right a little, you'll see there are more lines lining up behind the first one. The convergence of the narrow line of the line gives us a perspective that the smaller line is the furthest one. This is known as linear perspective. We know that the further line is blocked by the first line because it was behind the first line. This is known as overlap. Have you noticed the lines at the further distance is blurrier compared to the first line? This is known as aerial perspective. While the closer line appears to look clearer, it also appears to be more textured while the further line appears to look smoother. This is known as texture gradient. Then you probably think that the first one must be bigger than the last one because it appeared to look smaller compared to the closer one. This is known as the relative size. Last perspective of the monocular cues. What can you see through the window? Did you find that the bushes next to the roadside move faster than the trees in the middle of the field? If you look further, you'll see that the mountains is moving even slower than the bushes and the trees. This is known as the motion parallax. The further the object, the slower it moves.
But I found him.